I got your spring trend breakdown. We're talking about what you should buy, DIY, thrift, or ignore, because they make no sense anymore. Let's do it. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Orly Shani. This is the DIY designer, but today we are not DIYing anything. Today we're talking all about the spring 21 trends that you should either buy, DIY, thrift, or in my opinion, ignore and say adios, mofo. And there's quite a few of those actually. Most designers are designing a collection about a year and a half in advance, which means that spring 2021 was designed around fall 19. Normally that doesn't matter. Normally it's irrelevant because they dictate the trends and then all the stores sort of follow suit and then those are the trends. However, COVID threw a little bit of a wrench in that whole situation because our lifestyles changed, our events changed, our day-to-day, the way that we feel, the way that we need our clothing, all of that got thrown out the window. And so there's a lot of trends that for some reason, these brands are still pushing and retailers are still carrying, but there's basically nobody that can actually incorporate them. However, there are quite a few that it was like kismet. It was like meant to be that they would be the trends right now because they fit so perfectly into what we need right now. All right, so the first one that I'm super stoked, and I think the timing could not have been more perfect, are basically like big pants. They're being called power pants, they're being called wide leg pants, they're being called statement pants, but basically they are the opposite of the skinny jean. You've probably seen a bunch of funny TikToks making fun of millennials, which is me, for still wearing skinny jeans. This is the thing. Some of that's a little ridiculous. Do not throw away your skinny jeans. Do not wear your skinny jeans. But if you are shopping for some new denim or some new pants, you want to keep in mind this new silhouette so that you're adding that into what you already own. So let's focus on jeans for a minute. There's a couple different versions of this. Some of them have volume everywhere, meaning volume at the waist, volume at the leg. They're just the opposite of the constricting fit that we sometimes think of when we think of jeans. There are also versions that are still very fitted around the waist and the booty, but the legs themselves are wide. Either they start slim and they go out to a bootleg, or they're wide throughout. Personally, those are my favorite versions because I just find that volume in the waist or the hip area I just think isn't flattering. So I think that ones that are a little bit more fitted through the waist, like this pair that I got at H&M, they were super inexpensive. They've got really nice tight fit. They're high-waisted. They still look really cool on the top, but the leg is a big, wide open leg that's gonna look great with boots or look great with heels. They've got them at H&M and Zara and Target and Forever 21. They're everywhere, so sort of no matter what your price point is, you're gonna find them. You're gonna have to search through racks and racks and racks of jeans to try to find one that not only is your size on the top, but is the right look on the bottom and a wash that you like. I think this is something that you should buy. I will link down below a couple of the styles that I think are really great within all different price points. I'll do that for all of the trends. So those are jeans. Now let's talk about sort of the power pants trouser thing. This is really perfect timing because we're all still working, so many of us are still working from home, and that means like Zoom meetings where you're really only being seen from here up. I am a big proponent on not wearing your sweats even if you're working from home because I think that it affects your energy and your output. It's just no bueno in my opinion. So if you can do a pair of pants like this, which I did thrift, these are Giorgio Armani pleated wide leg trousers. They're perfect. They've got the slouchy, cool look. They've got the pleats that are great. They've got the wide leg. They're really, really comfortable. I can belt them for more of a structured look. It's really in right now. Those were super easy to find at the thrift store, whether you look in the men's or the women's section. So this sort of power pants trousers, I would thrift. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Trench coats. I'm really, really stoked on trench coats because you can thrift them very easily. I found this trench. It's a Theory trench coat, and I found it at a thrift store for $10. It's in great condition, and oversized trench coats are really in, which means that you're not limited to just what is your size. You actually have a range of probably 2 to 3 sizes. A trend that I really like within the trench coat trend itself are like fancy trenches. They've got like billowy sleeves, or they've got appliques. Like this Burberry one that Kendall Jenner modeled has like rings all around it. So you could thrift a trench coat and then sort of embellish it in some way to make it really, really on trend for 2021. All right, let's talk for a minute about like sweatsuits. This has been a trend that's just sort of like evolving over time. Athleisure became a super huge trend. I would say what's going on in 2021 is, again, scale. A lot of these pieces are getting bigger, oversized, you know, sweatshirts and kind of bigger, but they're also being embellished. So it's kind of like there's some detail on it that sort of signals that it's not meant to be worn to work out. And that is a perfect item to DIY. You guys can hit up your local thrift store or shop your own closet for a big oversized sweatshirt, add embellishments or details or paint or something to them that makes them feel really cool and really special, that signals that this is meant to be worn as like a piece of fashion, as style, as opposed to what you would have gone to bed in. Now, another one that I think is really, really fun, over-the-top prints. Prints are always really big during spring. Florals are always big during spring, but there's a mixing of the prints and there's sort of like an art element to it where it looks like it was hand painted. That's a really custom, couture, expensive designer thing that's happening that you can totally DIY on your own. There are so many killer prints at the thrift store. And when you're shopping for prints, what's awesome is you can actually do it really fast because you can walk down the aisles and just look at the shoulders and look at the prints. You don't need to look at the full body. If you see a print that catches your eye, open it, look at the body, see if it's a style you like, if it's something you could tweak. So this is something you can find at the thrift store really easily. And also the base piece, if you did want to like DIY it, graffiti it, paint it, whatever, obviously that's a great thing to start at the thrift store because if you screw it up, hopefully you only spent a couple bucks on it and you're like, okay. Okay, another one that I love is this like Bubblicious bright pink. I've got a couple back here that I actually just recently bought at H&M. I'll link them below, but this is something that I think is totally worth buying or DIYing. Like, let's talk about shoes, for example. This color is a trend within shoes. You can buy Angelus leather paint in this sort of Bubblicious pink paint color and paint a pair of shoes that are maybe like, maybe you've got 2 or 3 pairs of little black booties, or you've got a couple slingback heels or whatever. You can turn one of them into this style by adding this really bold color, and it just gives that outfit a pop. Another DIY version could be taking pink paint and just like painting the lapels of a jacket, or painting around the cuffs of a jacket, or something on your jeans. Like, you could get a little arts and craftsy with that bold pink color, incorporating it into your clothing, which is really cool. I went to the mall today, I walked through Bloomingdale's, and it was just like pink, pink, pink. There's lots and lots of pink. So you're gonna find it at every price point, which is awesome. It's really on trend right now, which is awesome. If it's a color that you love, go for it. If pink is not your color, don't start now. Okay, don't start now. You should still be doing what works for you, but I do think that this is a really cool color to incorporate. Okay, this is another one that's been, is always kind of in the last 10 years probably, but is having a sort of bigger moment now, which is like cutouts and bare backs. Now, a tight bodycon dress with cutouts to me doesn't make a lot of sense right now. Right now, for the limited amount of things we can do, to me, super tight bodycon with lots of cutouts feels kind of silly. However, one thing I think is really cool is these cutouts that are being done on like sweater dresses. So for example, I bought this sweater dress at the thrift store. I found it for $7 and it's not super tight. To me, cutting out maybe something that just gives like a little peek of the ribs will be really cool because it's a little more like, again, like slouchy and effortless. It's not so like sexy. You know, it's like, it's a little more mellow. And so doing it on like sweatshirts, even coats, like blazers, where you've got a cutout on an oversized blazer would be really cool. And that is something that is DIY-able like that. You can shop your own closet right now for pieces that you think would be cool with a little extra pop. And that pop could be a cutout. Okay, now this next one is one that's been big for probably the last 2 years and is getting more extreme. And it's the statement shoulders. Some of these sharp shoulders, this works on a runway, this works on a red carpet, this works at a photo shoot. Other than that, where are you wearing this? I just don't think it makes a lot of sense. So to me, those sort of like little poof shoulders, I think are really, really flattering. I personally would stay away from the really, really sharp shoulders because I think it's gonna be a really short-lived trend because it's just not super wearable and it's not like universally flattering. It's kind of like gnarly. So I just think, to me, the sharp shoulders you should avoid, but the statement shoulders that just have a little bit of volume are beautiful and they're not going anywhere. Another one that's been in for a while, huge during lockdown, and it's not going anywhere, is tie-dye. I mean, there's all these really beautiful versions of tie-dye. There's tie-dye knits, which to me is the fresh version of this skirt and top situation. So if you go to a thrift store, if you could shop for some cool knits and do tie-dye on those, that's a really, really fresh spring take. So easy to DIY. So tie-dye, yes. DIY, yes, for sure. Let's talk about khaki. Khaki is huge. Lots of it everywhere. I've got a couple options back here. It's basically these really neutral tonal colors that are really big right now. What's awesome about that is you can shop your own closet for things like that. So let's say you don't have a pair of like khaki pants or cargo pants. That's the one thing you might want to go thrift or buy. You can totally thrift that, by the way. One of the things you might want to get that's new. Then it's really just a matter of looking in your closet for some of those softer pieces that could be layered together in a way that maybe you wouldn't have before. Maybe you wouldn't have normally layered all the same tone together, but because it's such a fresh palette, khaki, beige, cream, linen, like just double up on all those colors, you're able to shop your own wardrobe for the rest of the pieces. You don't need to buy everything. Okay, waist belts. So this is one of those things that's gonna make a lot of sense when you really think about it. The silhouettes of everything got so big. And so it's sort of like natural for us to wanna highlight a little bit of our figure. So having really good, strong, tight waist belts that can bring some of that volume in is really key in balancing some of these oversized silhouettes. Now, if you can get your hands on belts like where the entire thing is belt loops, belt holes, the reason that's so great is not only is the hardware very cool and really on trend, but it allows you so much flexibility. You can go as tight as you want because literally the whole thing all the way around is basically belt holes. So it gives you a lot of flexibility, but really cinching in that waist is a nice way to balance some of those silhouettes. And they've got them at H&M right now. They've got them at Forever 21. They've got them at Target. Really, really cool. Another one that's really big right now are like large men's shirts. Again, this just goes with the scale, so I'm not gonna talk too much about this. Big oversized shirts. My general thought on all of this oversized stuff is to pick and choose which part you want oversized. Personally, I would not go big on top, big on bottom. I would sort of balance that, but that's my own personal aesthetic. Too over the top makes me feel like I get lost in my own clothing. I'm not gonna do all the shoe ones because there's like a whole gamut of shoe trends, but house slippers. Yes, yes, yes. The timing of it's funny because they had no idea we were going to be at home so much. Obviously, they designed so far in advance, but house slippers and cool house slippers are something that are great that you can wear out of the house. Right now, what I'm wearing on my feet are these. I found these downtown. They're really fun. They're super bold, really colorful, over the top, which is another big trend. Mixing them with another print that makes no sense is another really big trend. So getting some really good, inexpensive, soft, fluffy sandals, that's a buy for sure. Or you can take an old pair of slides that maybe you don't love and you can resurface them with a cool fabric. But I wouldn't thrift slippers. That feels weird to me. Another trend that I think really just makes no sense right now is this like exposed G-string trend. It's just a lot for everyday life. And so to me, it feels like investing in a piece of clothing that has a visible, fake, but visible G-string look feels dumb to me. Like, I don't know why you would have to do that. I say no. So to me, I'm like, forget the G-string thing. I think it's ridiculous. Another one, denim shoes for some reason are back. It's so short-lived in my opinion that I don't think it makes sense. Like, it's such a look that once it's out, it's out. So sometimes that's to me the key, is if something feels like really very much right now, it will be very much not right now super fast. And so you kind of want your trends to have lots of longevity so that you get the most out of them. Super, super micro minis we have a hard time wearing them right now. We don't have that many places to go. I think if where you live, things open up and you're gonna be going to like concerts and festivals and date nights and girls' nights and fun vacations and cool events, then yeah. But if you're still living in a life that's fairly locked down or limited, it's really a lot. If you do want to get them though, a great option is going to a thrift store and looking in the skirts that are not minis and then just hemming them into that super mini length. You're going to find really cool prints, really cool textured patterns, and you can crop them to be mini. So it's not something you need to go out and buy. You can just thrift it and DIY it. Another one that I really don't like are kitten heels. I feel like they're a weird trend that's neither here nor there. They're like not a flat, but they're not a heel. and they're like not, like they're just weird. Ballet flats are really in right now, and to me that makes more sense than a kitten heel. I just don't think that they don't need to take up space in your closet. Shoe styles that I actually think are really fun right now, they're called flatforms. They're basically flat platforms. This is something that is really wearable, really comfortable. It's gonna work at home. It's gonna work when life opens up. It's a really versatile piece that I think is always gonna work, and it's gonna go really well with a lot of the trends that are big right now. All these things would look really cool with this chunky platform. And another one is something I'm actually wearing right now. It's called like Second Skin, and it's basically all of these really tight mesh sort of sheer knits that are like turtlenecks, really tight long sleeve, body forming. They're actually really versatile. It's like a layering piece that's just giving a little bit of visual interest. This is hard to thrift right now, so this is something I'd recommend buying. Like, open up your mind to think like, I could actually wear this under a graphic tee where the neck is popping out and so are the sleeves. I could wear this under a little black tank top. I could wear a black tank top under this. I could wear it under a dress for kind of like a 90s vibe. I could really think about all the ways that you can wear it, and you'll find that there's actually quite a few. This shirt was $3. I left the tag because I thought maybe you wouldn't believe me. $3 at H&M. So really affordable, you can find it anywhere, and I think a really, really cool, sexy look. Okay, so for the last one that I think is really cool, there's this very like sports athletic kind of vibe. We talked about it with sweatsuits, but it's really leaning into the athletic. I actually found this really cool like varsity jacket at a thrift store. So it's an awesome thing that you can thrift, and it's really going like nostalgia, athletic, like game day wear. That's what we want to do, and it's super easy to thrift. Of course, you can buy them as well, but it is actually a really easy one to thrift. Okay. Did I forget anything? Okay, I think that's it. I mean, I think we pretty much nailed it. Those are the trends that I think are key. Anytime a new season comes around and there are 20 new trends that everyone's talking about, you should really only gravitate towards like 6 or 7, because not everyone has the same style. So you might pick 6 or 7, your friends might like a different 6 or 7. You don't need to incorporate everything just because the fashion people say that they're in. Pick the ones that you feel like are gonna work seamlessly with the clothing you already have in your wardrobe, so that you're able to really get a lot out of each of those pieces, a lot of versatility. And so if the trend sort of fades and isn't as like in as it was when you first started, you still love it enough that you're gonna wear it and you're gonna incorporate it. So that's something I would just keep in mind with all of these trends, is if I said something that I really like that's not your thing, don't buy it just because I like it. Pick the ones that I talked about that I think are the most wearable that you like, and only get a handful of those pieces. You should be able to constantly have this evolving wardrobe, not get rid of and buy all new things. I think that's super important. All right, you guys, I hope this was helpful. Thanks for being here. I will see you guys next week with another great DIY, and that's it. That's it. Have a beautiful week. Bye.